We're going to transition now to a missions moment that Pastor Connor is going to lead with a gentleman named Larry from an organization called Hearts and Hammers. So Connor, over to you.
Well, hello, EAC. Hey, I want to thank you. All right. I want to read a verse to you from 1 Corinthians chapter 12, actually a couple verses. The Apostle Paul writes this. He says, there are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit distributes them. There are different kinds of service, but the same Lord. There are different kinds of working, but in all of them and in everyone, it is the same God at work. And so if you've been part of Edgewater Alliance Church for a period of time, one of the things that is kind of a core conviction for us as a community is we believe that Jesus calls all of his followers to participate in some way, shape, or form in ministry, but that's not going to look the same for all of us. So even though we believe there's one Lord and there's one faith and we are one body together, it's going to look different what people do. And so some of us might be preaching and teaching. Some of us might be mentoring students and young adults. Some of us might be in kidsmen or fostering or caring for the poor. And so there's a lot of freedom of what that looks like. But one of the things that I want to do as a pastor is just continually lay before you opportunities for you to be involved and to get in the game. And if you've already found your thing, like that you believe God has called you to, it's not pressure from me to add something to your list. Like, we just want to lay before you opportunities for you to find your thing. And I'm pleased to introduce to you Larry from Hearts and Hammers this morning. And I'm going to let him tell you about this ministry that he founded.
Thanks, Pastor Connor. Good morning, Edgewater Alliance. I want to just briefly tell you about Hearts and Hammers. It is definitely one of those services that is not up front. It doesn't require, well, with one exception, it doesn't require you to stand on stage, this being the one exception right now. But what I'd like to explain to you is how Hearts and Hammers essentially reaches out into our community. Our population that we're really focused on are our widows in our community. James 1:27 says that pure religion in the sight of God is helping our widows and orphans in distress. And so that's what we are trying to do. For the most part, we do what Pastor Connor actually said, handyman work. And I think if you set the bar at handyman work, we will almost always get over that bar in the type of work that we do. We've done some bigger projects that would fall into heavy construction, but for the most part, these are plumbing issues, these are electrical issues, these are around the house issues that our widow population may not have the resources, whether financial or physical, to fix those on their own. So we come in and make those repairs in large part. But three things I would ask of you. The first is that you pray for our ministry. None of this happens without God. I am reminded frequently that everything that happens passes through the hands of God, and this ministry doesn't happen without filtering through God's hands. So I would ask for your prayers for the people that we're helping first. Distress looks different depending on the houses that we walk into, but I ask that you pray for those people, and you pray that we come to those houses with a servant's heart and not anything other than that. And then if this type of work sounds like your calling and you haven't put it to use yet, then I ask that you reach out to the number on the screen or the email address and you give us a shout. I'd be happy to talk in detail about what we do and how we do it. And I'd love to put you to work. And then if those two things, if you've prayed about it and you realize that that's not your calling, if you'd be willing to support us financially, that would be much appreciated too. And I can give you that information if you reach out to us. There you go.
Thanks, Larry. So I had lunch with Larry and Pastor Khalil at Beachside Baptist. And so this is a ministry that kind of grew up at Beachside. And then the thought was, well, let's scale this thing and just have this be a collaborative effort amongst churches in the area where we just serve people in the name of Jesus. And so one of the things that Larry shared with me was that most of the people they served are actually people who are not in church. And so a tangible story from my life is I live right near Panera. I stop there all the time. And I got to know a lady who works there who's probably in her 50s. She has a mentally handicapped daughter, and there's no husband in the picture. And she just needed some work on her home. And I asked Larry today, like, what's going on? He's like, oh, the termite people are going out there tomorrow. And this is a lady who's like not in church. And it's just a beautiful expression of people just being loved and served in very tangible ways in the name of Jesus. And so if you have skills that I do not have, please contact Larry if you want to get involved. And then on the initial part, if you're wanting to just support the ministry financially, you can just send money over to Beachside Baptist and just earmark, this is for Hearts and Hammers, because for the time being, until it's scaled, that's where it's just going to go. And so I would just encourage you, if you're looking for a cool ministry to participate in or to help back financially, this would be a good one. Can we give Larry one more round of applause for what he's doing? So, all right.